Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Carlos McConney.
Another week has gone by, but never fear. In case you missed anything, Euromaxx has the highlights right here. Let's take a look at what we have coming up. Prime Perspective, a new web series, shows Germany from a bird's eye view. Splendidly small, London's pocket-sized apartments are on their way to becoming a trend. Rare atmosphere, mountains, sea, and flamenco make magic in the Spanish city of Granada. Drones are a marvelous tool for video production because they offer the possibility of filming things from perspectives that were barely possible before. Here at Euromaxx, we thought you might enjoy getting to see Germany's landscapes from above. So we joined documentary filmmaker Andre Gutzmann. He's the man in charge of producing the footage for our new online series, Daily Drone.
Whether a lush mountainous region in southern Germany or an open-pit coal mine in North Rhine-Westphalia, or the rapeseed oil fields in northern Germany, these are pictures that you won't see often. They were taken by photographer Andre Gutzmann. He's best known for his documentary films, but Deutsche Welle commissioned him to shoot drone videos all over Germany.
I can't capture the true beauty of a landscape from the ground because I don't have the proper perspective. You don't have to fly very high, maybe just a few meters, just over the treetops. That's where I find the perspective I want.
Today, Gutzmann will be filming the monument that commemorates Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of Leipzig in 1813. It's cloudy today, but he managed to get some good shots. Still, decent weather conditions are essential for any successful airborne photo shoot.
It's easy to shoot when the sun's out and there's no wind, but you've got to know how to fly when it's windy. Gusty winds are a problem. I can handle wind speeds of up to 80 kilometers an hour, depending on the landscape. Anything more than that, even retrieving the drone starts to get tricky.
The drone is now cruising over the rooftops of Leipzig. Gutzmann steers the craft over the city's park. He can follow the flight on his display screen. The batteries will last for only 15 minutes, so he has to work fast. But before every flight, Gutzmann has to get written permission from each German state where he wants to fly. He also has to get permission from private citizens to fly over their property. But he says the effort is worth it.
I was around Lake Constance recently, and it reminded me what a wonderful Christian Baroque region it is. Every other town seems to have a huge monastery. There's so much history there. I thought I knew the region pretty well, but I was quite amazed by what I saw.
Heiner Müller-Elsner is another photographer who works with drones. He specializes in shots of statues and sculptures taken at eye level, so you can view them from a brand new angle. For some people, drones are just another high-tech toy. This is a drone competition in Berlin. But Andre Gutzmann prefers to focus on the aesthetic aspects of drone flight. He particularly likes shooting farming and industrial areas, like this potash mine in the state of Lower Saxony.
I fly the drone over a cornfield during the harvest, and you can see the furrows. If I shoot straight down from a normal perspective, sometimes I see graphic structures that remind me of certain paintings.
And you can see more of Andre Gutzmann's drone photography on DW's travel website.
We move along to London, where housing prices are amongst the highest worldwide. But now one solution might make it possible for people on average incomes to live in the British capital. Wow! It is called pocket living, and although it sounds like a great alternative to expensive accommodation, there are a few conditions before a buyer qualifies for this type of housing.
An apartment building in London's fashionable Hackney district. Georgie Lister-Fell couldn't normally afford an apartment in this location, but thanks to a scheme selling affordable mini-flats, that has changed. Georgie has to make do with just 38 square meters of space, but she doesn't see that as a problem. The apartment seems bigger, has space for a bathroom, a bedroom, and a living room. For Georgie, it's the location that's the luxury.
What I like the most is the fact that it's in an area that I want to live in. It's an area that I've lived for quite a few years. All my friends live around here, and it's just so easy for me to get to work. It takes me about 15 minutes to commute. And obviously, had this scheme not have existed, there'd be no way that I could afford to live in this area, so I'm very happy.
The London property market is horribly overpriced. Even simple townhouses and apartments can cost over €1 million. In order to prevent middle-income earners from being forced out of the city, a new type of property developer has designed 400 mini apartments. They sell for up to 40% below market value, starting at about €200,000. The secret is in the cost-saving and functional design.
So some of the specific design techniques are always employing full-height windows. We want plenty of daylight into our homes. You can see there are no radiators on the wall. This flat has underfloor heating, so radiators aren't dictating where we have to put the furniture.
The mini apartment features a double bed and a desk. Built-in closets and cupboards ensure the space is used optimally, and household appliances are stored away discreetly.
I think all of the features I've mentioned contribute to a great sense of space. It's things like lots of daylight, lots of sunlight, the slightly higher floor-to-ceiling heights, the good proportions, there's no wasted space, so all of the space that's available is used to provide that sense of space.
But the apartments are not available to everyone. The buyer cannot earn more than €100,000 a year and has to already live or work in the area.
We think that a healthy city depends on people living and working in the same communities. But currently that's not practical. People can't afford to buy in the areas they work in, certainly in central London. So we're bridging that gap.
Urban sociologists and planners are showing interest in the project. Paul Watts has been researching the London property market for over 2 decades.
The crisis around home ownership, I suppose, is many of the new homes that are being built for sale in London are essentially they're not really being built anymore for home ownership. They're not being built, say, for first-time buyers. They're being built or they're being taken up by buy-to-let landlords. So what you have then is you have a whole housing system which is all geared around housing as an investment rather than housing as providing place for people to live.
Around 100 years ago, cities were faced with similar problems. In Germany, it resulted in projects like the Horseshoe Estate in Berlin, which was inspired by Bauhaus and the Neues Bauen styles. It too employed functional design and also created the social idea of a home and garden for everyone.
It was about a whole attempt to bring construction, design and art together, you know, in an intellectual package. I don't really think that's what Pocket or any of its competitors is trying to do. That's my understanding. I would think it's much more about trying to fill a fairly obvious niche within a market.
In London, Russ Edwards is always looking for suitable space to accommodate more pocket apartments. His company is, of course, looking to make money, but he never loses sight of the social impact.
We look for unloved, leftover pieces of land, often on local authority land, and we help regenerate that part of town with a new building. And we always prioritise good design because we believe that we need to make a really positive contribution to existing communities.
We return to Georgie Lister-Fell's place. Another feature of pocket homes are the communal areas, such as leafy courtyards and roof terraces. Georgie has already befriended many of her neighbors, but she says she won't be able to stay here forever.
It is a bit scary to think that in the future I probably am going to have to move out of London if I want to have like a family or want to have a bigger place. I will have to do that.
But back at Pocket, they too have their eye on the future, with the first family apartments already in the works.
Now we will focus on a place recognized internationally thanks to a popular product that they export. If you drink bottled water, you might be familiar with the name of the place we are about to visit next. Évian-les-Bains is located in the eastern part of France, and that is precisely where the magic happens. That is where fresh mineral water is bottled by the Évian company.
Nestled on the shores of Lake Geneva, Évian-les-Bains is a water paradise. Boat trips are popular here, and so is fishing. The resort specializes in water sports of virtually every kind. And water springs up everywhere here. Thanks to its mineral quality, Évian has been a spa town since 1827. Along the lakeside promenade, there's one product that sells especially well: Évian drinking water, fresh from the source.
I've always sold water here. I'm not especially proud of it. It's just normal for me.
The Cachat Spring is the most famous source in Évian. This is where residents and visitors can bring their own bottles and fill up for free. The water that comes out here has a long journey behind it. Tour guide Thierry Dutrel often takes visitors up to the source of the spring in the mountains. Everyone is keen to taste the famous water.
By the time the water comes out here, it's already spent 15 years passing through underground channels. The catchment area, or filtration zone, is a huge plateau 1,000 meters above sea level. It's the famous Gaveau Plateau, which stretches for 35 square kilometers. There are around 10 mountain lakes there and a network of wetlands. Whenever it rains, the water soaks in and is filtered through the multiple geological strata before passing on its way.
It's natural mineral water without any additives.
This water is very good for you. With a shot of Pernod, it's even better.
It's good for your kidneys.
For centuries, the waters of Évian have been said to contain healing properties. The water contains relatively few minerals and is thought to be well balanced. Reports of the water's medicinal benefits date back to the early days of the French Revolution.
In 1789, Count Jean-Charles de Lézère, who came from this area, suffered from bladder stones, which in those days couldn't be treated. So he kept going to one of the springs here, and after 2 months, the stones were gone. He started telling others about it, and that was the start of the Évian success story.
200 years ago, the spring water was collected in earthenware jugs, brought to the shore of Lake Geneva, and exported to other countries. 1905 saw the creation of this Art Nouveau drinking hall. High society from all over the world would come here just to drink Évian. The mineral water has been a gift to the town.
Part of the income from the water goes to the city authorities because the Cachat Spring is leased out to the Évian Water Company.
The water is bottled in the neighboring town of Amphion-les-Bains, upward of 5 million liters every day. About half of that goes to the domestic market. The next biggest customers are Britain, Switzerland, the US, and Japan. Wherever you go in France, water is served with every meal. But in Évian-les-Bains, you can be sure it's water from a local spring.
Flamenco dancing, beautiful architecture, and gorgeous sunsets. I just want to follow the sun all the way to Granada, located in Andalusia in southern Spain. This region is home to some of the most important cultural heritage sites on the Iberian Peninsula, places like the Alhambra Palace and the Albaicin district. We joined Tatiana, a flamenco dancer, who showed us around town. To her I say, olé!
Granada lies at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains and only 70 kilometers from the Mediterranean coast. It's home to 240,000 people. Tatiana Garrido is a professional flamenco dancer and a native of the city. Zacatin is the main shopping street in Granada. Nearby is the Bib Rambla Square. The names are a reminder of when Granada was ruled by the Moors.
Living here is a luxury because you've got the sun, the beach and the mountains. It's a typical Andalusian city. It's a centre of flamenco, and because I'm a flamenco dancer, I'm proud to live here.
The former Arab bazaar, the Alcaceria, is the place to go for souvenirs. Christians, Muslims and Jews shaped the history of the city. It was also a blend of different cultural influences that shaped Andalusia's signature music and dance. Tatiana Garrido's family have long been involved with flamenco.
Flamenco is a way of life for me. I've been dancing it since I was small. It's a very lively art, very strong, with lots of energy. And I think we Andalusians are like that. We're full of life and passion, and that's expressed in flamenco.
In 1492, the Emirate of Granada was the last of the Arab states of Al-Andalus to fall to Christian forces. The cathedral is a symbol of that conquest. But Granada's most famous building dates back to the time of the Arab Almohad dynasty, the Alhambra. Every year, the complex with its famous fountains attracts some 2 million visitors. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most stunning examples of Islamic architecture in the world.
The architecture we have in Granada is something unique and magical. It's described in Arab literature such as the Arabian Nights. The architecture is so fascinating because it's so delicate inside the fortress, yet appears so powerful from the outside.
Daniele Grammatico is Italian, but has been living in Granada for more than 20 years. He knows the old Arab quarter inside out. Losing your way in the labyrinth of alleys of the old city leads to unique discoveries. One typical feature of the area are the Carmenes, the luscious walled gardens of traditional villas. These streets could be in North Africa.
The fingerprints of the past are visible in the Albaicin. The structure of the old town and the layout of the streets is still there. You feel like you're in the Casbah, a medieval settlement surrounded by walls.
In another corner of the city, Tatiana Garrido meets up with her friends in a tapas bar. Tapas are small snacks ranging from chorizo sausage to manchego cheese. They're often served free with drinks, a custom that was once common throughout Spain.
We Andalusians are pretty easygoing. We like to get together whenever we can, have a beer and enjoy the moment.
And revel in a little flamenco. This iconic Andalusian dance is known for its emotional intensity, expressive arm movements, and rhythmic stamping of the feet. And of course, the sunset here in Granada is also unique, casting a golden hue across this magical city.
On to the Atria Valley in southern Italy, an area famous for its vast amounts of olives, high-quality white wine, and stone houses with cone-shaped roofs called trulli. These structures were once used in part for avoiding taxes, but they're now part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Even though at some point these basic huts were home to unprivileged farmers, we are about to see how a couple of these trulli have been turned into a luxurious modern living space.
The Atria Valley in the southern Italian region of Apulia is famous for stone houses with conical roofs known as trulli. Farmers used to live here with their livestock. Today they're much sought after holiday homes. Often they're located far off the beaten track, like Elisabetta Cerioli's trullo with its two cupolas. Wood used to be stored in the smaller building. The other one was the living quarters.
When I saw this building for the first time, I fell in love with it instantly. It was situated magically in this landscape, like a little doll's house in the midst of an olive grove. I bought it immediately, even though it was just a heap of stones.
That was 2003. Less than a year later, she had the trullo restored. Its many nooks and crannies and 4-meter-high dome were carefully reconstructed.
The family used to live under the central dome. The parents slept together with the youngest children here in the side alcoves on the left. The older children used to sleep up here on wooden boards under the roof.
To create additional light and space, Elisabetta Cerioli had openings made in the meter-thick dividing walls and the windows enlarged. The kitchen and dining table are located in what was once the goat shed. The reconstruction of the trullo's conical roof was particularly time-consuming. It was completely dismantled stone by stone and then reassembled.
The stones are individually shaped and laid in such a way that air can circulate, but that rainwater is diverted and doesn't get through to the inside. It's an old craft which is now being taken up again by young people, and the tradition revived.
And there was an ulterior motive here. In the past, when imperial checks were imminent, farmers used to dismantle their roofs, transforming their homes into a stall for livestock and thus dodging taxes. An entire town was even created based on this principle, Alberobello. In the 17th century, the feudal lord Girolamo made this tax-saving method of construction obligatory. Nowadays, it's listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and draws tourists from far and wide. Elisabetta Cerioli has extended her trullo, adding a swimming pool, pergola, and modern annex at the rear. The bedrooms and guest rooms are accessible from the front. She retained the original limestone walls and floors wherever possible. The smallest room is located under the cupola of what used to be the wood store. What used to be a dwelling place for poor farmers has been turned into a luxurious house with 200 square meters in area. Elisabetta Cerioli's favorite spot is the light-filled living room.
This is the rear of the main trullo, and here I had large glass walls installed to let in more light and to protect against the wind and the cold in winter. You feel as though you're sitting outside, but you're in the warm house.
At first, Elisabetta Cerioli planned to use the trullo as a holiday home, but family and friends enjoy visiting her the whole year round.
Some of the ceilings are maybe a bit low, but they also give you a sense of how the farmers lived here many years ago.
Meanwhile, Elisabetta Cerioli has begun producing her own olive oil on the hectare of adjacent land. She now lives and works most of the year in her trullo in Apulia.
We are all out of time. That will be all for today's show. Thank you for joining me. I will be looking forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone.